story from a colleague of Tim Patrick years ago, and I'd like to share it with you this morning. It's about this lady who was out in California, and she's walking down the street deciding to get some ice cream. So she went into one of these ice cream shops, and there she walked in, and she's looking at all the different flavors, and she decides that she wants vanilla and something else, and she wanted some candy put into it, and she wanted it on this waffle cone. And so she began to watch them as they're preparing. And they go and they get the waffle cone and turn it, and they go and they open up the back and they start to get the ice cream out and putting it up on a plate and begin to mash it and getting it all prepared for her. And as she's standing there watching them prepare this for a little while, she looks to her left, and there is Paul Newman. She's like, "Paul Newman? You've got to be kidding me. I cannot believe it, a movie star." And all of a sudden in her head, it's going all over the place, and she's like, "I wonder if I can ask, can I get your autograph? Or maybe I can take a selfie with him. Or I wonder if I could just give him a big hug and tell him what a fan I am. Or talk to him about his movies." She thought about all these scenarios she would like to do, but in the end she said, "Okay, you know what, better yet, just play cool, like you didn't even see him." So she's standing there trying to be as cool as she can, and she walks around him without looking at him. She goes to the register and she pays for her cone, and she immediately walks out. She gets in the street and she begins to walk, and she's like, "Oh my gosh, I can't believe I saw Paul Newman." When she realizes she doesn't have her ice cream cone. So she's so embarrassed, she doesn't know what to do. She's like, "Well, I want my ice cream cone, but I really don't want to walk back in there because Paul Newman's going to think I'm an idiot and he's going to laugh at me." And so she sat there and she thought about it, and she decided to kind of walk around the block a little bit and wait for Paul Newman to come out. And then she'd go get her ice cream cone. Well, she waited and she waited and she waited, and Paul Newman hadn't come out yet. So she goes up to the big glass and she kind of looks in, and there he is, sitting there eating his sundae, enjoying it. And she said, "You know what, this is silly. I'm just going to go in and get my ice cream." So she walked in, and she sees the employees back there, and they're making more ice cream for other customers. And she's looking and seeing if it's on the counter, and she apparently even walks over to the cash register because they have a tray there that they can put the ice cream in, because that's probably where they left it. She looks, and it's not there. So she's deciding what to do. She's looking back at the employees, and she wants to go up and say, "Where's my ice cream?" Well, she gets a tap on the shoulder, and it's Paul Newman. And he said, "Ma'am, if you're looking for your ice cream, it's sitting in your purse." Yes, she paid for ice cream. They gave it to her. She didn't think about it, so she threw the change and everything back in her purse, and she hurried and went back out. We've all been there, where our minds are scattered so fast because things around us are happening so fast that we kind of lose touch of what we're really there for. And for her, it's the ice cream. She forgot it, and because her mind is so preoccupied. We've all done it one way or another. In some ways, that's how Easter is for a lot of us. Not only just on the church side, but on family side too. We have this Lent in which we can devote a lot of time to prayer and meditation and reading Scripture and preparing ourselves for Holy Week. And I hope you did. And we have several weeks of this as we are doing this and we're being devoted to God. And then we prepare ourselves for Holy Week. And as you know, Holy Week can be quite emotional. If you came to the different services, you know exactly what I'm talking about. From Palm Sunday, we have Maundy, Thursday, we had Good Friday service, we had the Easter Vigil service. And so that's another time that our minds can start being kind of torn because we're really thinking about God and in our lives. But then comes Easter. And Easter is a different thing in itself, isn't it? Easter is so busy and so many things are happening that our minds can be torn in all kinds of different directions. After, if you were like me when the girls were growing up, we got up, and of course they had to have their Easter basket. They had to see what the Easter Bunny brought, and they went and they checked that out. And it never failed. The girls always wanted an Easter egg hunt before we went to church. And so you're hurrying up and you're hiding eggs for them so they're running around. Well, then you want them in your Easter vest. And you always see the little boys and girls coming, and they have their pretty little dresses on and their little bonnet hats and the little ties that are on. And you're making sure they're looking good and there's no peanut butter or something on front of them. And you finally get them to church, and when you come here, the first thing they're doing is the Easter egg hunt here. And so they're running around, and we're running, and us all parents, they're all running behind them and, having a great time. We, of course, come in, and we have an incredible worship experience. And there were almost 300 people at the 10:30, and the place was packed. And so your mind is racing from all of that. And of course, while you're sitting here listening to that, you're thinking about the lunch that you're going to have because you made reservations somewhere, and you're hoping your mom and dad or aunt and uncle and then will meet you there, and they're going to be on time. And so you're sitting there thinking about that. Of course, wanting me to hurry up with my sermon so you can get to it. And so once the service is over, you're heading out to lunch to make sure you're with your friends. And trust me, I know a lot of people went out to dinner because, like I said, we almost had 400 people here, or 300 people here at just that one service alone. And within 20 minutes, it was crickets. And nobody was here to make it. So I know a lot of people went out. But what happens is in all of that confusion and all that rush and trying to prepare everything for our families and making sure everything is right, sometimes we walk out without our ice cream. What I mean is without Christ. We're starting to think about all kinds of different other things and trying to make sure that Easter baskets are done and the Easter egg hunts are done and the dresses are done as we walk out and we forget about Christ. He's sitting in our purse or in a backpack or in your pocket. For some people, they don't think about Jesus again until the next week when they're here for Easter season. For others, they will pack Jesus away until Christmas, maybe next Easter. But guess what? The disciples were the same way. As we see this morning, the disciples, imagine what their Holy Week was like. They go into Jerusalem and they are pompous and parade and all the palms are there and they're in triumph and they know that they're with the Messiah. And so they're thinking in their minds, he is just going to take this donkey right to the temple, go and sit on the throne of David, in which he will last forever. And of course we know that didn't happen. So you can imagine their confusion. Their upsetness as the week continues. And when is this going to happen? When is he going to take over? And probably got excited on Wednesday or so when he goes to the money changers and he starts flipping it over and they're going, oh yeah, here we go. Jesus is getting ready to destroy some Romans. Let's watch. But then suddenly he leaves with them. He doesn't attack them. Imagine them on Monday, Thursday, that night, as they are hearing this warrior king suddenly talk about his death and being resurrected again. Their minds had to start wandering all over when he takes the bread and says, this is my body and this wine is my blood. Imagine how confused they were when they got out to the olive press out there and they're in the garden and Jesus is praying and crying and sweating blood. Why is he doing this? And then finally the arrest happens and they think this is it. But he's actually arrested. And it's not Judas who betrays him, it's all of them. They all run for dear life because fear has taken over. And that fear comes from a distance as they watch him be crucified. From a distance, as some of them watched them take him down and bury him. Some were there, but some were still from a distance. Even in the morning that the women go to the tomb and come back with the good news, the fear is still there. What I'm saying is they know about Easter, they know about the resurrection, but they ran out of the store without their ice cream. They're now behind locked doors. Isn't it amazing? As the tomb opens, the doors are locked. And it can be the same way with us. But something happens, doesn't it? That's not where the story ends. Suddenly we see Jesus, and Jesus appears. It is the same power of God that rolls away the stone that brings Jesus among them. And the first thing Jesus says to them in all of their fear is, peace be with you. He lets his peace upon them. And there, can you imagine how scared they must have been? Is he a ghost? Who is he? And he comes up, and there they see he's flesh and blood. In some other stories we hear that he even says, I'm hungry, give me something to eat. So that he can show it's really me. Well, everyone is there but Thomas. Thomas may have been going out trying to search for Jesus. We don't know where Thomas was, but he wasn't there at that point. But we kind of give him a bum rap, and we really shouldn't give Thomas a bum rap because this is the one who really believes in Jesus. He believes in him so much. If you remember, Jesus wanted to go back to another city, and all the disciples said, no, 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 we can't do that. They're going to stone you. And it's Thomas who says, well then, we will go and be killed with him. We're going. So Thomas has a deep belief, and when he returns, they tell him the story. But it's Thomas who's going, guys, I think he's doing actually some pastoral care here. He knows they have been crying their eyes out for the last 72 hours or so. They're grieving. Their whole foundation has been cracked. And he's telling them, no, you didn't see him. Yes, we did. He was here. He ate with us. We touched him. He's here. Guys, listen. Jesus is gone. We don't know where he's at, but he's not here. And they continue to try to convince him, and he finally says, listen, unless I can touch the holes in his hand and my hand in his side, I am not going to believe that he was here. And of course, we know a week later, the same power of God that rolled away the stone has Jesus appear again. And it's there this time to Thomas. And there he puts out his hands to him and says, touch them. Can you imagine Thomas? Can you imagine being Thomas and seeing this? What is he? Why is he here? I can almost see his hand shaking as he goes to touch Jesus and feels the flesh and puts his finger in the hole. I can see Jesus actually guiding his hand and putting it to his side. But it's there that Thomas is the first of the disciples to say who Jesus really is. He's not making a shock comment. He's making a real comment about exactly who Jesus is. My Lord and my God. My Lord and my God. You see, it's Thomas who's now put it together that this is God in the flesh. That's the only one who could possibly do this. It is God in the flesh. And there, Jesus leaves his peace with them. And he leaves. But now it's a new chapter to the disciples. This will be a time now that the disciples, with this peace among them, will begin to talk about their oral traditions, talking about the stories. Remember when we were on Galilee and he stopped the storm? Well, do you remember the crippled man that he made walk again? Do you remember the man who had the demon in him and he pulled him out and gave him peace? Oh yeah, well we were with him when he did this in the garden. Oh yes, we were here in the field when he told the Pharisees this. In other words, what the story is happening is starting to be built. The next chapter of their life, they're getting ready to put their faith into action. And so there, for the next few weeks, waiting for Pentecost, it's during the Easter season, they begin to build their ministry. My question for you this morning is, where is your ice cream? In all the hustle and bustle that has happened over the last week of Easter and Holy Week and everything that's going on, where is Jesus? Have we forgotten? Because sometimes what we feel, and for a lot of people in this country, we feel that Easter is the end. When in fact, Easter is just the beginning. We didn't finish anything. We started something. And we are here during our Easter season. And we need to take the example of the disciples. And we need to start building the ministry in our lives. What we need to see is what it is we've learned over Lent and Holy Week. And what is God calling us to do? What did the Scriptures say to us? So that we too can take our faith and put it into action. I can tell you, one of the first things that can stop us is fear. Just like the disciples, fear can happen to all of us, including this guy here. Scared to try something new. Scared if I do this, will they hate it? If I do this, will I have somebody angry with me? If I say this, will somebody come and call me or give me a nasty email? These things happen all the time. I don't get those, but yet you fear. And guess what? All of us can fear when we want to step out and do something God has called us to do. Do I have enough time? Can I get to that Bible study? Do I lead that Bible study because maybe people won't like it? Do I have enough money? Do I have enough time? Do I have enough knowledge to help and teach something? These things can happen to all of us. But I'm telling you, God is calling all of us to put our faith into action. If I talk to my neighbor about my faith, will he laugh at me? Will people think I'm silly? But the Lord is with you. It's the same power of God that rolled away the stone that can roll away the stone of our heart and allow the Holy Spirit to dwell. So it's during this time of Easter, this season of Easter, I want you to start thinking about the things that you have learned and what God is calling us to do, and how do we put it into action. We can do this. We can pray about it. We can think about it. We can explore it. And whatever you do in this crazy world that pulls our minds all apart, whatever you do at the time of Pentecost, just don't forget your ice cream. Amen.